This is Trinity's What's Up, and it's in the genre or the style of music of funk rock, and the crotchet is set at 112 beats per minute. You've got to count in, and then it goes with a bass drum on the first stroke, and it says here F, which means forte, which is loud in Italian. Bass, snare, hat, snare, bass, repeat, snare, hat, snare, bass. And then this is just a repeat of that, and bass, snare, hat, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, into the groove with eighths on the hats or quavers, whereas before, just in this bar, we had crotchets or quarter notes, a repeat of that, bass, snare, hat, bass. So this is just a little bit of a fill. So snare, and this is high tom or tom 1, hat snare, and 4 and all on tom 1, and then you crash bass it, and then you're into this driving groove in the B section with the crash bass open. The 0 means open, the cross means closed with a hat, snare, and a bass. Open, close, open, close, open, repeat for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more bars, and then this transitional bar, 1 and close, open, snare, crash, rest, 2, snare floor on 1 is a rest. That sign there, squiggle thing, means a crotchet rest. So 4 and rest, 2, 3 and 4, and it gets progressively loud with this here crescendo marking. And then you're into bass, snare, bass, open, close with snare, and then repeat, bass, hat, snare, bass, snare, more of the same, and then bass, and then tom 1 and snare, 4 and same groove as you have up here, again a repeat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E floor, snare, tom 1, snare. That moves us into the ride cymbal with a crash bass, and this section D is with ride, snare, bass, ride, bass, ride, and then you've got snare, floor, and bass. So those 3 layers. The bottommost note is bass, above it is floor tom, and above that is snare drum. So you hit them all together. Pretty much a repeat of that, except you don't crash bass it, you just sit on it for another repeats here. Those are repeats of that only here, and then E is your outro. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, crash, rest, and 2 and bass, snare, crash, and E4. So these move all around the drum. So crash, snare, tom, and that's high tom, tommy, 2, floor, and there's a big bass there. So 1, these are semi-quavers with 2 lines, quavers with 1 line or 1 tail, 1 and E, 2 and 3 E and 4 and this is how it works.